Just wanted to discuss the horrific incident really between Alex Caruso and Grayson Allen that happened yesterday between the Bucks and the Bulls. If people haven't seen it, it's basically Caruso was going up for a layup dunk, drive to the rim, and Grayson Allen flat out took him out, and it's culminated in Caruso having a fractured wrist. And it's not just that, it's the aftermath of the event where Grayson Allen's basically seen on the sidelines, he's been ejected flagrant 2 foul, and you see on the sidelines smirking and smiling about it. It's a horrible look for Grayson Allen. It's a horrible look for the game. I thought it was something that was getting out of his game that we hadn't really seen so far this season, that hopefully he was maturing into a basketball player first and foremost, who played in the right manner, who was just a really nice 3-and-D player, could play some strong defense without doing anything unnatural that was potentially harming to the opposition, whilst also obviously being a really good 3-point shooter, shooting 39% from 3, averaging over 10 points per game. He's been really good this season. But now, that's kind of all taken away in one moment where it wasn't even one moment. You can understand one moment where he goes up and completely hacks Alex Caruso, and Alex Caruso gets a fractured wrist, and it is terrible. It's a terrible incident. But again, going back to the aftermath of it, where he's basically smirking and smiling about it, like, that's a villain out of a movie kind of behaviour, really. Like, that is a villain. That's a guy who looks impressed with the fact that he's just gone and fractured a bloke's wrist. And that's just not the way to act in life, let alone on a basketball court. And I just thought it was horrific. And my respect levels for Grayson Allen, which had started rising this season with how well he's played, just went out the door in one moment. And the aftermath of the moment where I'm not sure what was going through his head. And that's what I'd like to know, what made him smirk or smile in that situation. Because that just made it 100 times worse from my perspective. And you could see how much hate he's getting on social media at the moment, and the way that people are looking at him, both not only fans, but also fellow players and management are looking at this guy and thinking, why? What are you actually doing? Why do you have to do this? Like, I understand there are players who have to be on the really tip of the boundary in terms of doing defensive things that are skeptical. Like, someone like Patrick Beverley is a player who does some things where you're like, dude, really? Like, that's really dangerous, or getting dangerous to an extent. Like, he does that kind of stuff, but it's also the way Patrick Beverley plays in terms of he's not the most talented, skillful guy in the world, so he has to scrap for everything in his career. He really does. But Grayson Allen this season's, to me, like, you play good defense and you shoot 39% from 3. That's a very valuable player in the league. You'll be in this league for 10, 15 years. You don't have to do anything else to try and prove yourself. And this isn't even trying to... Like, what is the aim of this? What is the aim of taking a bloke out mid? Like, I know you're trying to prevent him from getting the basket. I get that. But then why are you smirking, smiling? Why are you not looking after the guy immediately straight away? Well, you know you've made a terrible play where you've seriously injured the guy. He's now out for 2 months. And that incredibly hurts Caruso and incredibly hurts the Bulls, who have been a far worse team when Caruso's not there. You are actively ruining a team's chances. And you look back, and like, if this was a playoff setting, and I'm glad for Grayson Allen the Bucks situation that it's not, but if this is a playoff setting and then the Bucks were to go on and win a series like this, it's like that's tainted for the rest of history. Oh yeah, remember that time the Bucks beat the Bulls in the 2022 playoffs, but it was tainted by the fact that Grayson Allen completely took Alex Caruso not only out of the game, but out of the series. And this is the kind, like, I'm just glad that we've still got a couple of months where Caruso can come back and hopefully contribute and play like he has been for the Bulls towards the end of the regular season, then going to the playoffs. But Grayson Allen, you're doing so much great work so far this season, and you ruined it in one play. You flat out ruined it. And the league needs to come down hard on this, not only on the fact that the incident occurred, but the aftermath and the reaction to it. You can't have a guy doing that, where he looks happy and impressed that he's fractured a bloke's wrist.